энергетического бизнеса из Азиатско-Тихоокеанского региона.
Уважаемый Александр Александрович, дорогие гости, прежде всего хотел бы поприветствовать вас. В этом году форум отмечает свое 25-летие. За это время он стал важнейшей площадкой для плодотворных дискуссий, обмена мнениями. Традиционно, как сказал уже Александр Александрович, дискуссия проходит на самом высоком уровне, наши оценки и прогнозы подтверждаются, что говорит об актуальности рассматриваемых тем и о глубоком понимании происходящих в мировой экономике процессов со стороны участников дискуссий. И сегодня, несмотря на известные ограничения, я хотел бы по просьбе нашего модератора представить и поблагодарить наших сегодняшних участников, среди которых Тайхуян, председатель Совета директоров КННК, Китайской национальной корпорации, Алока Кумара Гупту, главного исполнительного директора ONGC Педро Акина, президента и главного исполнительного директора компании ОФИР из Филиппин, Нобуо Танака, исполнительного директора Международного энергетического агентства в 2007-2011 годах, а также модератора нашей дискуссии, академика Российской академии наук, президента Института мировой экономики и международных отношений Российской академии наук Александра Александровича.
Игорь Иванович, спасибо за представление. Я прошу вас выступить с ключевым докладом.
Спасибо, уважаемый Александр Александрович. Еще в 2018 году мы говорили о том, что политика санкций и ультиматумов на рынках углеводородов приведет к появлению перманентной санкционной премии в цене нефти и отмечали риски новых ценовых рекордов. Теперь все это, как мы видим, стало реальностью. Глобальный экономический кризис набирает обороты на наших глазах. Президент России Владимир Владимирович Путин охарактеризовал изменения, происходящие на мировом рынке нефти, как тектонические. Надо понять, что мир изменился полностью. В условиях уничтожения действующих финансово-правовых инструментов, ранее обеспечивающих функционирование мирового рынка, отрасли предстоит оперативно найти решение для организации работы в новых условиях. Сам по себе глобальный кризис не является следствием санкций, но санкции, безусловно, до предела обостряют и ускоряют нарастание всех кризисных явлений. В понимании США санкции – это некая волшебная палочка для реализации политических и экономических целей. Когда нынешние механизмы не обеспечивают достижения цели, а политические возможности отсутствуют, США прибегают к санкциям без всяких оснований. Санкции уничтожают незыблемый ранее институт контрактных обязательств, саму судебно-правовую систему, финансовую, транспортную, промышленную сектора и, как следствие, социальную сферу, в итоге сам глобальный рынок. После Второй мировой войны создание МВФ, превращение доллара в основное средство обеспечения мировой торговли, Соединенными Штатами, объявившими себя лидерами свободного мира, была разработана концепция и технология применения односторонних санкций, жертвами которых последовательно становились Китай, Северная Корея, Куба, Иран, Ирак, Венесуэла, Ливия, Россия. В настоящий момент односторонние санкции США затрагивают 26 стран по 176 так называемым пакетам санкций. Что касается нынешних санкций против России, то просто процитирую недавнее выступление замминистра финансов США по ряду ему, из которого прямо следует признание произвольного и беспрецедентного, то есть не опирающегося ни на какие правовые прецеденты, характера этих санкций. Двоеточие. Мы, говорит АДМО, использовали санкции для достижения двух целей. Лишить Кремль доступа к ресурсам, необходимым для поддержания российской экономики. Мы приняли беспрецедентные меры для того, чтобы парализовать значительную часть резервов Центрального банка России, нейтрализовав целевой резервный фонд, который Путин годами создавал для этого сценария. Но американские санкции свели на нет его усилия в считанные кавычки закрыли. С точки зрения оценки правовой базы этих действий даже нечего добавить. Практически, знаете, выглядит как заявление самого себя прокуратуры. Тоже Министерство финансов США в своем обзоре при применении санкций за 2021 год отмечало, что санкции должны быть эффективным инструментом для достижения политических целей, дающим возможность ослабить способности стран распространять свое влияние, а их последствия должны тщательно оцениваться. Оценка последствий санкций должна использовать максимальную возможность спектра информации, вплоть до разведданных. Также отмечают, что для США риск представляет не только страны-конкуренты, но также международные технологические платформы, обезличенные цифровые валюты и отдельные инновации. Фактически, все, что не может быть подконтрольно США, отнесено Минфином США к факторам риска, подрывающим глобальное доминирование американской финансовой системы. Из заявленных Минфином США принципов следует, что для того, чтобы подвергнуться санкциям, не нужно быть преступником. Достаточно того, чтобы действия того или иного субъекта рынка или физического лица противоречили политическим или экономическим целям США или просто конкурировали с ними. При этом это содержится в их собственных документах, опубликованных на официальных сайтах. Принцип верховенства права, зафиксированный во Всеобщей декларации прав человека, принятой Генеральной Ассамблеей ООН 10 декабря 1948 года, основополагающих законов государств, в том числе США и Европы, является основой любой современной конституционной демократии. Разрушение этого фундаментального принципа, применение санкций со стороны узкой группы стран привело к уничтожению базовых основ правовой системы,
of the legal system that emerged in the world after the World War II, protecting the proprietary rights, the freedom of doing business, the right to judicial protection and other fundamental rights.
Так называемого правосудия
With the example of the so-called justice in US, our company faced when it disputed back in 2014 the sanctions that were instituted against it, the easy court, while rejecting the Rosneft claims to suspend the illegal sanctions, accepted that the company doesn't have any relationship to events in Ukraine. However, as thought by court, the activities of the company is critical to fulfill the Russian budget and to support its development, because of which sanctions against the company are justified. In this way, the European Court directly acknowledged that the purpose behind the sanctions against Rosneft was dealing a damage to the Russian economy and its households. That dealing such a blow is permissible and legitimate if it complies with the foreign European agenda. As a result, we witnessed the way the US and Europe created a very simple scheme according to which any entity can be sanctioned. There's no need to collect any evidence of any nation. Sanctions are being introduced based on concocted reasons without an adequate motivation, direct falsification in assessing actual things, and so illegally being used the fabricated news issued by the controlled media. So one can state that under the Roman law, the notion of the presumption of innocence today is completely disrupted. Everyone against whom sanctions are being declared are culpable without any foundation which justifies any illegal activity. For example, officials from the US administration, yet again, without any legality, accused our company of supplying Iranian oil to Europe. And I would like to thank the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which resolutely denounced these concocted accusations from the finally placed U.S. officials, you can run a long list of sanctional arbitration which ignores any legal norms. For example, in April, Greece arrested the Russian tanker, although it didn't violate any laws under the pressure of the U.S. administration. The Greek court ruled in favor of the U.S. administration, having supported the confiscation of that oil and shipping it to the United States, although later it was reversed. In France, a Russian businessman, I won't mention the name, this person is suffering without it, was stripped of his assets as the right to his private life, not for any sort of activity related to his involvement in any conflicts, but simply for the fact that he turned out to be a beneficiary in a joint venture with the BP company in Russia, while the second BP beneficiary was able to circumvent the sanctions. That's really stunning. The global crisis in 2008 was not overcome. It was simply inundated with emissions. So the emission opportunities, which seemed to be limitless, were exhausted somewhere in 2020-21. But any substantive increase of Fed rates meant the risk of recession and great expense in servicing the corporate sovereign debts as well as the household debts. And so the basic reason behind the U.S. inflation is an uncurtailed emission of U.S. dollar. Then the inflation multipliers were a speeded up green transition, economically senseless, lack of economically comprehensible technologies, politically motivated, as well as the pandemic and an artificial disruption of supply chains and unprecedented anti-Russian sanctions. This ineffective fight against global inflation through hiking of the rates is evidently doesn't have any future because it leads to a collapse of the financial system. The Fed rate growth radically is lagging behind and will lag behind the real inflation. To tell the truth, the Green Revolution, the hybrid war against Russia, this is a consistent attempt to organize the substitution of the currently existing economic system in favor of the currently existing dominant. The anti-Russian sanctions essentially brought the green transition to an end. The remaining green rhetoric completely contradicts the search for any source of hydrocarbons instead of the Russian ones. In fact, the green transition is no longer required as the way to manipulate the market. You know, the Article 162 of the Criminal Code of the Russian Federation defines this as an attack, an attempt at stealing somebody else's property, which is a highway robbery. So the currently existing global financial and economic model is capable to be reproduced either through the expansion or expropriation of additional resource or through the emissions, and that has exhausted itself. The possible outcome here also the outflow of the investment capital from Europe, where we witness dramatic worsening of the investment parameters. In this way, America remains the only global financial and economic regulator and the economic dominant. Europe, as a result of the anti-Russian sanctions forced on it, has finally lost its legal ability and the chance to become not only competitive, but the economic pole center alternative to the US. So the energy suicide of Europe will have long-term consequences. We already see the way its economic potential is declining, how it loses its competitiveness, and suffers from direct losses. For example, in France, the stock index CAC 40 went down 18%. The DAX index in Germany went down by 19%. In Italy by 22%. So in total, investors in between these three European countries lost about $1.6 trillion US dollars. At the same time, against the backdrop of the decline of almost all of the stock indices, the capitalization of the leading three defense US companies, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, since the beginning of the year grew by 19%, while the S&P index 500 went down by 23. In reverse. Dynamic. easy to understand why. So giving up on the Russian oil and gas, Europe has turned itself into the region with the highest cost of energy, undermining the level of its market competitiveness. For example, the German index prices of manufacturers' index prices in April grew by 23.5% compared to the previous year, while the energy costs grew by 87.3%, which considerably undermines the competitive level of the biggest European economy. Besides, the manufacturers' price index grew by 37.2% compared to the previous year. The aggregated price index for energy grew by 35.6%. In general, but in Belgium, Netherlands, and Estonia, it exceeded the level of 60 to 70%. As the result of a significant speeding up of the inflation process because of the geopolitical risk growing and the disruption of the established supply chains and the dipping of the energy crisis, there occurred a structural growth of cost of essential products in Europe. The price for metals grew by dozens of percentages. The fertilizer prices altogether amounted to 180%, which in many ways became the consequence of giving up on a cheap gas, as well as the grain, barley, and corn prices grew by about 80%. Furthermore, one may expect even a bigger growth because of the delayed price growth effect on fertilizers. I mean, it is easy to understand that the economy is inert. If you don't do necessary investments today, then tomorrow you won't get anything. So overall, as deemed by JP Morgan Bank, the energy price growth only throughout 2022 may cost the Europe additional 550 billion euros, which is 14.5% of the European GDP. 4.5. More and more Germans believe that the previous level of consumption is no longer affordable. The Ministry of German Economy, Robert Habeck, already acknowledged that the country will have to face new poverty. What Europe is facing, having accepted the anti-Russian sanctions forced onto it, is social degradation, effectively the dismantling of the social market economy. I mean, both social and market-based. This is the end of the post-war Great Germany's model, the well-being of everybody, good health, and something that Germans were so proud of and believed the raw example for the rest of the world. The order based upon rules, this is the mantra, which means US-centric world that the Americans enjoy repeating all the time, and in violation of which they accuse Russia and China. But previously, these rules at least have been identified by the regulators and publicly were adhered to, like the supremacy of contracts law, the supremacy of law, but the so-called current order based on rules acknowledges the only rule, that all the rules are being set forth by the only regulator, and which can be changed at his discretion. There are no other rules. So, as a result, we are witnessing the disruption of the market. Rephrasing, we are seeing a one-polar world with the kind of polar center which has unhinged itself. So I would like to draw attention to the way the U.S. energy companies are functioning, continuous changes in the priorities of the national regulation and political directions against the backdrop of the green movement, the pandemic, and the shortage of energy leads to the shareholders not willing to invest long-term. And so here the priority are given to the investments which can regain investments very quickly, as well as priorities being placed upon dividend growth, minimizing investment in development. That is exactly the pathway that the oil and gas majors are following, which put their bets not upon long-term provision of available energy, but to ensure the short-term project with a quick payback, with the quickest extraction of profit, and to support the value of stock, as well as aimed at optimizing the assets, where very often what we see is just the divestiture from these assets, which creates returns longer term, which used to create this long-term return. Against the current oil price and growing dividends,
и выкупа акций,
and
котировки
the
акций,
stock buyback and
например,
the stock quote, for example, ExxonMobil, have reached new maximum. But at the same time, the company is not growing its investments nor production. Overall, during the past 5 years, the total capital spending by measures into E&P has gone down by 29%. The saved resources from investing are being directed for dividend payout and buyback of shares, and the overall spending for that purpose grew by 31%. Following the strategy of immediate profitability raise improves the stock rating, but fundamentally negates future development. The reaction of the White House to the market behavior of the companies is demonstrated by the way the Biden spoke to the U.S. oil and gas companies. Let me quote, "There is no doubt that Vladimir Putin," that is what he is writing to Chevron and Exxon, Marathon Oil, and a number of other companies, is principally responsible for the intense financial pain the American people feel. But amid a war that has raised gasoline prices, is exacerbating this pain. My administration is ready to use all sensible appropriate instruments and its emergency authority to increase capacity. Well, the full text of this letter is what we will post to our slide stacks. Those of you who might be interested will be able to read it in detail. We already know the reaction from the American producers and refineries to this letter. An American Association of the Fuel Producers and the Petrochemical and the American Petroleum Institute also responded to it. Let me give you a few quotes from that response. The prices for refined products are being defined by the international market. The refineries in the US are working with maximum load. About half of the refineries stopped down is because they're switching to the renewables future. The federal agency acts on your election platform to invest capital in traditional energy that would be more costly. And finally, the current situation didn't appear overnight, and it won't be possible to resolve it instantly. The current problems, to a large extent, are the result of high oil prices because of there being a disbalance between supply and demand. Secondly, because of the redistribution of the supply chain in the process of world going out of the pandemic, the high consumer demand, as well as the ban on the Russian products. And thirdly, political decisions made throughout so many years before. And all of this gives us reason to think that the sanctional resource against Iran, Venezuela, and Russia may ultimately reach out to the marketplace in the United States. Now, reducing the business scale happens because of the Western majors announcing stopping investments and voluntary withdrawal from Russia. For example, a long-time trusted partner to Rosneft, the British BP company, officially stated about its withdrawal from Russia in February this year, despite the fact that the Russian business gave it $36 billion of income since 2003 against the amount of investments made at the level of $10 billion US. So this announcement was an unexpected one. Rosneft completely unfounded in terms of the successful 36-year-long partnership, and it was not dictated by commercial BP's interest or BP's shareholders. However, despite all of the announcements of unequivocal withdrawal from Russia, BP continues to remain the biggest private shareholder in our company with a share of 19.75%. BP also remains as an owner in big major projects, including Tatyryakh, Yampur, Neftegas, and Yermak oil and gas. All of this testifies to the willingness to remain as an active participant in Rosneft's projects and wait until this unfavorable geopolitical situation blows away without major losses. Similar kind of wishes we note amongst some other Western majors, even against the backdrop of the seizure of the Russian hard currency reserves and the expropriation of the Gazprom's foreign assets. Russia doesn't create obstacles for the foreign companies to continue to operate in its territory. For example, even with respect to dividends. end
единственное ограничение,
the
которое
current
сделано российским
limitations
регулятором,
introduced
это
by the Russian
зачисление всех на
regulator
специальные
is
счета.
crediting funds to special bank accounts.
И хотел бы
And
сказать, что
I
в
would like to
отношении
say
BP
that with
мы так
regard
и
to
сделаем.
BP, that is
И после собрания
exactly what
акционеров
we'll do.
сумма дивидендов за прошлый год
The
составит
shareholders
серьезную
have
цифру в
decided
9
that the
нулевой
dividend
валюте.
amount for last year will
Но
be a
вместе
serious
с тем
figure with
мы рассчитываем, что в
9
случае
digits in hard
попыток
currency. But at the same time,
экспроприации
we hope
российской
that
собственности,
if the Russian
симметричные
property is
меры в
attempted to be
отношении активов
expropriated,
иностранных компаний
similar
России
measures against
будут
the assets of
предложены
the foreign companies in Russia
российским регулятором,
would
российским
be
правительством.
also put
Хотел
up for
бы
sale by
обратить
the Russian
ваше внимание на
regulators.
то,
And I would like to
что
draw attention to the fact
83%
that
первичной энергии
83%
в
of
мире
primary energy
обеспечивается
in
за
the
счет
world
традиционных
is being
источников.
produced out of
По
conventional
оценке
sources,
банка JP
as
Morgan, на
viewed by
фоне
JP
быстрого роста
Morgan against the
экономик
backdrop of
развивающихся
a
стран
quick economic growth of the
и
emerging
их усилий
countries
по
and
повышению
economies in
уровня и
their
качества жизни,
efforts to
прирост
improve
мирового
their quality
спроса
of life,
энергии
the
на
growth of the
энергию на
global demand for
20%
energy by
опередит
20%
прирост ее
will
предложения.
exceed
Для
the
ликвидации
supply.
дефицита только по
To
нефти
eliminate
к
shortages only in oil by 2030, the world will need to additionally invest
400 миллиардов долларов.
$400 billion.
Однако, как уже говорилось, на фоне сокращения
As already was
инвестиций
mentioned against the backdrop of the reduction of investments, the majors most probably won't achieve that level, and the deficit of oil may remain for long. Currently, because of energy becoming more expensive, we see a catastrophic worsening of economic environment for businesses because of a dramatic growth of energy costs, which dramatically increases the cost of production. The most who may suffer is the steel industry, because without Russian gas to sustain continuous steel melting cycle is impossible. Complete giving up on the Russian gas, as deemed by the experts in Europe, may lead not only to stoppage of the steel industry, but also to the dismantling of many industries. Considerable consequences will be for the producers of ammonia and fertilizers. Back in 2021, the big European and British exporters and producers of fertilizers, because of high gas prices, had to reduce their output, which led to prices growing. Problems are not only limited to energy industry, they also roll out their influence over the metallurgy and fertilizers, and eventually to food industry. The Western countries not only to create problems for their economies, but also translate them towards the most vulnerable emerging economies. And in this way, crisis embraces the whole world. It's not accidental that the president of the World Bank, David Malpass, said that he doesn't see any option how to avoid a recession in the global economy in the light of an unprecedented energy and food crisis. As we have already noted at the Verona Forum, instead of mutual trust and cooperation, today we are seeing the way trends change their courses from globalization to regionalization. The involvement into the international distribution of labor increases the vulnerability of individual nations towards sanctions. Although looking at the sanctional pressure against Russia, other countries understand that the least they are involved in the global community, the least will be the opportunity for them to get damaged by the crisis. The similar trend we'll see in the gas market. The US are trying to convince European countries that in any scenario, the reduction of the Russian gas supplies, Europe won't be left without this energy. Nevertheless, Europe and the rest of the world do have the reason to have doubts and feel concerned. To dramatically grow gas production is impossible for such major LNG producers such as Australia, Qatar, or US. The efforts by the US may enable to grow production by the value which would be less than 10% from the output necessary to substitute Russian gas. Through that, in order to meet the European demand, one would require to bring gas from other markets, and primarily from Asia. As a result, Europe is already buying LNG intended for the developing nations who cannot compete with it on price. So, based on the available data since October 2021 until June 2022, more than 10 LNG supplies to Pakistan under long-term contracts were cancelled against the backdrop of a growing demand in Europe, as the result of which the country was forced to buy gas from the spot market at a much higher price in order to at least partially provide for its needs. As a result, a very powerful energy crisis has been provoked because of a shortage of fuel. The operation of 20% of the generating capacities had to be stopped in this 20 220 million people country, which have industrial consumers and households without energy. The everyday outages in May and June reached 12 hours of daily long outages in cities and 16 hours in rural communities. Simultaneously, we see demand growing for cheaper substitutions, with the share of coal growing in the energy balance. For example, the coal-based generation in Europe, which grew in 2021 by 18%, in 2022 may grow by additional 1/3. We see a real coal renaissance, which in many ways undermines global efforts to reduce carbon footprint. The rhetoric by the Western countries towards the need to expedite decarbonization contradicts their own practical states, because in rhetoric they call upon reducing the carbon footprints, but actually they grow it, devastating other countries' economies. The crisis and deglobalization inevitably would lead to the changes in the global financial system. The existing mechanism, which has established itself after the U.S. refused to peg the U.S. exchange rate to gold, which stimulated the development of globalization over the past 40 years, are going to get altered. The disproportionately high share of dollars in the reserves of the central banks, which accounts for about 60%, almost threefold exceeds the share of the United States in the global economy, which is a clear signal to now change things around, because the boundaries of the one-polar world have been clearly set, and quite quickly the process of change in the settlement system will happen, which may lead to an establishment of the new global reserve currencies. This is an irreversible process. In longer term, it will also lead to the global trading geography change. So the meaning, the significance of the US dollar as a reserve currency goes down. So giving up on the Russian energy already led to the flight of capital and the decline of the US dollar-euro exchange rate by 8%, falling down from 1.13, which was at the beginning of the year, down to 1.4 right now. So effectively, having banned trading with Russia, Europe has limited the flow of its currency, having diminished its attraction for the purposes of international settlements. So with the blocking of the Russian, seizure of the Russian hard currency, golden currencies, euros and dollars lost their status of sound currencies, because it is evident that accessing them at any point in time can be curtailed. So you should be able to start reducing this as well as to expand using national currencies to make more active the contact between the national banks and to strengthen the integration of the national payment system from different countries. Without doubt, our joint efforts should not be limited to financial area only, which in itself is not valuable, but is just an instrument to transact. Another direction that may strengthen cooperation and which may promote trading balances of the countries who are interested in that could be mutual investments simultaneously that may help to lower dependence upon euro and the dollar. Broadening the partnership and building joint institutions will help us to create an effective alternative to a one-polar world. The buzzword of the year, deleverage, the flight from debt. Whereas in the past, money used to flow from one market into another, nowadays everything goes down simultaneously, apart from hydrocarbons and even gold, which is traditionally used for reserve purposes. Dollar is growing as the last resort. It is growing against the systemic inflation in the U.S. Many to say that the U.S. is the main beneficiary of the crisis because of the inflow of capital and the growing dollar. And against that, with the inevitable growth of rates, the cost of servicing this humongous U.S. debt is growing. And in the short foreseeable period, recession and stagflation. We already see the recession beginning. The fall of the American S&P 500 index was 23% since the beginning of the year. As far as the poorest Asian and Latin American and the emerging economies are concerned, which don't have their own available energy resources, sanctions for them transform into the growing energy and food prices and the possibility of hunger and economic collapse, which is also
виновата ли в
being
этом
acknowledged
Россия?
by those who are behind this sanctional fandango. So the essence of the Western discriminatory policy is clear. This is discriminatory policy against Russia. In the softest possible form of an attitude towards it was shaped by Subramanian Jaishankar, who is the Foreign Minister of India. The West is being misled in understanding that the rest of the countries should be resolving their problems while
Китай
not
изначально
trying to
строил
solve
свой
other countries'
грандиозный
problems.
экономический
China was
рост
building
в рамках глобальной
its
экономики.
huge economic
Тем не
growth as
менее,
part of the global
в
economy,
настоящий
but
момент
nevertheless,
США
at
объявили
this point
Китай
in time, the
главной
United
угрозой,
States announced
как
China as
экономически,
the main
так
source
теперь
of
уже и
threat, both
военно-политически.
economically and
Характеризуя нарастающее
militarily and
технологическое
political.
противостояние США
The
и Китая, глава
growing
КНР,
attrition
председатель
between
Си
China
Цзиньпин
and
заявил,
US
что
led to
технологические
Xi Jinping
инновации
saying
стали
that
главным полем
technological
битвы на
innovation
глобальной
became
арене,
the
а
main area
конкуренция за
of
технологическое
dispute, while the
господство
competition
станет
for global
беспрецедентно
dominance
жесткой.
will be unprecedented.
Теряя свои лидерские
tough.
позиции в
Now,
основных
losing leadership positions
технологиях
in
21
core
века, США
technologies in
пытаются
2021,
сдерживать
the US is
Китай,
trying
который уже стал
to
безусловным
deter
лидером по части
China, which have
из них,
become
а
as
по
a
другим
country an
может
undoubted
обогнать США
leader,
в течение
and in other,
следующего
some other of
десятилетия.
them
Китай
may take
значительно
over the United States within the next decade. The US has grown considerably its spending in R&D, which reached $580 billion in 2020, which is coupled to the US spending. China is the biggest 5G market in the world, one of the biggest manufacturers of 5G equipment. Out of 5 main suppliers of such equipment, 2 are from China, and not a single one from the US. Having lost competitive advantages in this market, the US is resorting to non-market means by imposing tough sanctions upon Huawei. The single global market is dead.
Все прежние институты и
All of the
механизмы
previous
его
institutions and the
регулирования
mechanism
действуют
for
в
its
неэкономическом
regulation,
режиме, по сути, в
they are being
режиме войны.
applied non-economically. As a
В этих
hostility,
условиях
as a
невозможно
military action.
переоценить роль
Under
России
such conditions, it is impossible to overestimate the role
формировании новой
of Russia
конфигурации
in
рынка,
developing a
новых
new market
институтов
configuration, new
взаимодействия,
institutions of cooperation,
стремящихся к
which
независимости
are
от
trying
диктата и
to achieve
санкционного
independence
произвола.
from the
Руководство страны
dictatorship and
подчеркивает, что
sanctions.
стратегические
The leadership of the
задачи
country
обеспечения экономического
emphasizes
прорыва
strategic
со стороны
aims
ведущих
and the
институтов
economic
и
breakthrough.
экспертов растет
On the part
понимание
of
того,
the
что
leading
цели
institutions
экономической
and experts,
политики
there's a growing
вообще
awareness
не
that the
могут
purposes
лежать
of economic policy
внутри
must
экономики.
not
Об
be
этом
inside
еще Гегель
economy. That
предупреждал.
is something that Hegel warned us about
Гегельской
in the
диалектики,
foundations of the Hegel's dialectics.
вообще проходили на втором
Actually,
курсе
that is something that we were learning as students during our
Наши
second
цели
year.
– это
So our
достижение
aim is to
технологического
achieve the
суверенитета,
technological
повышение
sovereignty,
эффективности
to
финансовой
improve the
системы,
efficiency of the financial
которая должна
system,
из прикладной
which
задачи
from
таргетирования
an
инфляции
applied
перейти к обеспечению
inflation
роста
targeting
экономики,
should be providing for the
эффективного
economic growth and an
взаимодействия,
effective
стимулированию,
collaboration
упрощению кооперации
towards
с нашими
stimulating
настоящими, а не
cooperation
мнимыми
with our
партнерами в
true
мире.
rather than
Движение к технологическому суверенитету уже началось с
So
установлением
the
базовых
move
производственных
towards the
цепочек,
technological
нарушенных
sovereignty has
санкциями.
begun by
Мы уже видим
re-establishing
движение к
the
новой
supply
конфигурации
chain undermined
нефтяного
by
рынка, где
sanctions. We already
формируются два
see the new
контура
configuration
цен.
of the oil
Для
markets where
дружественных
two
стран справедливая
centers are
рыночная
being
цена,
now
а для
shaped up.
недружественных
For the friendly
в
countries,
цене
it's a fair
прибавляется
market
премия, которая
price,
будет
but for
направлена на
unfriendly one, there
погашение
will be a
наших
premium in the
издержек,
price, which will be
связанных
aimed
с
at
нарушением
cushioning
правил и
our
обязательств
expenses
нашими
related
бывшими партнерами.
to us,
В этих условиях важен
to us
ответ на
being
вопрос,
forced to
где он,
step away from the
этот Ноев
pre-established rules.
ковчег
So
мировой
the question
экономики.
is, where is this Noah's Ark
Россия
of the
с
global
ее
economy?
энергетическим
Russia,
потенциалом
with
и
its energy
портфелем
potential
первоклассных
and with
проектов,
its portfolio of
таких как,
top-notch
например,
projects,
Восток Ойл
such,
в
for
нашей
example, as
компании,
Vostok Oil in our
может
company,
обеспечить
may
долгосрочные
provide for
потребности мира
long-term needs
и
of the world
доступных энергоресурсах. И,
and make the
безусловно,
energy
и есть
resources
этот
available.
спасительный
And that is
Восток
this
Ойл крупнейший в мире,
Noah's
единственный
Ark,
по сравнимым
Vostok Oil,
масштабам.
the biggest in
Новый
the
проект.
world
Ресурсная
that is
база
comparable to the
6,2
required scale. Its resource
тонн
base
нефти
is
подтверждена
6.2
результатами
billion
проведенных
tons of oil,
масштабных
which has been
геологических
confirmed
работ,
by large-scale
подробными отчетами
data
экспертов мирового
acquisition,
уровня и международными
verified by the
аудиторами.
international auditors.
Нефть Восток
The
Ойл
oil from
характеризуется
Vostok Oil
уникальными
project
премиальными
is
качествами.
characterized by unique premium qualities.
Я привез эту нефть.
I brought this oil
Вот она.
along. Here it is.
Это нефть Восток Ойла с крайне низким содержанием серы от
With the lowest sulfur
0,01
from
до 0,1 низкой плотности,
0.01
порядка 40 градусов.
0.1 with a very low viscosity of about 40 grade.
Оценка
API,
проекта крупнейшими
the evaluation
международными
of the project
инвестиционными
by the
банками
biggest international
JP
investment
Morgan
banks such as
114
JP
миллиардов,
Morgan, 414
90
billion,
миллиардов,
Raiffeisen
Citi
90 billion,
86 миллиардов,
Citibank
Goldman Sachs 85, Bank of America
86, Goldman
70.
Sachs 85 billion, Bank of America
Среднее
70
значение
billion,
порядка
with average here being about
89
89 billion. Oh, roughly $90 billion. It is worthwhile noting that Rosneft is already producing oil from the Vankor cluster, which is part of the Vostok oil, by using state-of-the-art technology, demonstrating the highest performance indicators in its efficiency compared to the industry averages, very successfully instituting the comprehensive data acquisition. So we tested 2 wells, exploration wells, and so we expect the reserves to grow to about 190 million tons. It has been established that the Thai deposits are characterized by about a unique kind of a pressure up to 160 bars, which would ensure the big output up to 720 tons a day after the hydrocracking. Overall, the results of exploration multiply exceed expectations, which makes it possible to surely plan a high level of output for many decades to come, with a phased reaching to 115 million tons by 2033. So one should know also very promising gas resource development here, which has been confirmed by us discovering at Taimyr the Mezenichev field, with the reserves of 384 billion cubic meters, which has been by the expert community as the biggest discovery in 2021. The unique Vostok oil project, to its scale, becomes the powerhouse which pushes forward the development of the manufacturing sector through its multiplier effect and investment. Against the backdrop of the reducing investment in the development of the oil and gas sector, Vostok oil is the only world project which is capable to provide stabilizing effect in the hydrocarbon market by having highest performance indicators, as well as stability, and so implementation of the project which enable one to produce a great positive effect for the shareholders in growing capitalization, creating powerful synergy effect for the rest of the country by direct access to the transportation artery, which is the northern marine route. The dependence of the project from politically unstable supply chains is diminished. The project implementation for Rosneft has neither no technological or resource difficulties. We possess necessary competences, skills, and knowledge in implementing such project. 98% of the material are domestically produced. According to the schedule, we have the pipelines and other material delivered through the integral contracting with the major Russian suppliers, and already we have more than 500,000 tons of products delivered. More than 1,000 units of the special construction equipment, a new automobile service center of the Urals Auto Works has been built and currently is functioning. We have assembled and installed the Arctic-class Russian-made rigs. Additional 5 production rigs are being produced, and altogether 100 drilling rigs have been contracted. We have mobilized now and in place. We have 24/7 work done by the Russian contractors, more than 4,000 people and more than 2,000 equipment units who are actively building the core technology clusters, the main pipeline Vankor-Payaha to the northern bay, 2,000 kilometers of pylons have been welded. We are following the plans in doing the land work, building the power lines, and so on and so forth. We have built and now operating 3 new berth facilities at the Yenisei River, which unload materials and equipment during this summer season. Additional 3 berthing places will be finished. We are actively building the oil pouring terminals. We are also building the artificial islands in the bays so that they will be able to receive tankers. We also build aviation infrastructure at the port of Dixon. We are building personnel. So altogether, the project is alive and kicking, fully according to schedule, able to overcome inevitable difficulties, and we are fully sure that all of the tasks that we set ourselves are going to be done, and we will need to do that before the great flood. So we'll be happy to see our friends together with us building the new Noah's Ark for the global economy. Thank you very much for your attention.
Владимир Игорь Иванович, Большое спасибо за откровенный и глубокий доклад, за ваш стратегический анализ причин неутешительного состояния мировой экономики и энергетики, и, конечно, за ваш оптимизм при взгляде в будущее и за замечательную метафору Ноев ковчег, которая, мне кажется, очень к месту.
Быть построен до потопа. Вот это в этом самое главное.
Before the Genesis flood. After the flood, it will be too late. That is true. That is important to bear in mind.
Вот в нынешних кризисных для старого миропорядка моменты, конечно, очень важна и интересна точка зрения китайской национальной нефтяной компании. Руководитель этой компании, господин Дай Хаулян, это одна из заметных фигур в нефтегазовом бизнесе. Это человек с колоссальным опытом и глубокими экспертными знаниями. CNPC имеет продолжительную и успешную историю работы с Роснефтью. И мне представляется, что взаимодействие двух этих крупных компаний лежит в основе российско-китайского сотрудничества. Можно вспомнить, что еще в 2013 году был подписан долгосрочный контракт на поставку 325 миллионов тонн. Некоторые наблюдатели называли его сделкой века. В феврале этого года заключен еще один контракт на 100 миллионов тонн. Важно то, что Роснефть и CNPC ежегодно организуют российско-китайский энергодиалог, бизнес-форум, который, по сути, является и компасом, и барометром поступательного сотрудничества между нашими странами. Конечно, обе компании не проходят мимо низкоуглеродного развития. Господин Хаулян, как вы считаете, вот, учитывая зеленую повестку, удастся ли традиционной энергетике отстоять и сохранить свою роль? Каковы перспективы вот сегодня, летом 2022 года, у энергоперехода? Потому что Игорь Иванович очень убедительно показывал, какие проблемы там возникают. И позвольте еще один вопрос. Мы видим, что переход от глобального разделения труда к регионализации ведет к смене мировой экономической парадигмы. Как по-вашему, какие игроки получат от этого тренда свою выгоду? Прошу вас, господин Дай Хаулян.
感谢主持人，各位同行，大家好。感谢主办方的邀请。时隔1年，再次受邀参加能源分论坛。
First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers of this forum. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to take the floor. It is a great honor for me. Since the beginning of the year, we've seen dramatic shifts and changes happening in the world, strengthened by the pandemic. And we see the number of the factors of instability growing both internally and externally. All of it is imposing serious threat and shock to the global financial markets, to the prices, to the key groups of products, causing greater instability and uncertainty. Under these circumstances, we got to feel the particular importance of trust and cooperation. As a global producer and supplier of energy resources, CNPC is cooperating with more than 30 countries of the world. Facing new challenges, we are going to develop business in our country, deepen our cooperation at the international market, demonstrate greater openness, and stick to the strategy of internationalization, following the principles of mutual benefits and strict compliance with the early agreements. We are going to analyze the opportunities for new cooperation. We believe that the so-called green, low-carbon transition in the global energy sector is a trend of time. However, in this process, oil and natural gas are still playing a vital role. In my speech last year at this panel, I was saying that the energy future
would primarily be structured along an energy mix. And CNPC is following this philosophy of gradually expanding the exploration and development of oil and gas in the country. Research Institute for New Materials in Shanghai, we develop heat, wind, solar, and hydropower. Of course, we develop the carbon capturing usage and storage technologies, and of course aim to develop cooperation in the area of new technologies in the energy sector. Likewise, we are paying every effort to preserve the current level of supply. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Mr. Daiholan. Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you for answering to our questions. And thank you for taking such a balanced position on the Dr. Tanaka, if I may, I actually would like to welcome you once again. A very warm welcome to our panel. Mr. Tanaka is a very well-known personality in the world of energy business. In 2007 to 2011, Dr. Tanaka was the head of the International Energy Association, and today he's the head of the supervisory board at the RCEF. Dr. Tanaka, you have a truly invaluable and extensive international experience. How do you see the present and the future of the energy sector, taking into account those somewhat critical events and dramatic events of the latest months? How can we overcome the crisis that we're facing today? And what are the ways to achieve a state of balance and strike the right balance in the energy transition, finding the balance between energy growth, energy security, and the availability of supply of energy resources, and the purposes of sustainable development, of course. The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Igolfechin, my very good friend, to invite me to the energy session of SPIF 2022 again this year. It's really great honor for me. Thank you very much. In fact, my successor in the International Energy Agency, the Executive Director Fatih Birol, recently said that we are in the middle of the first global energy crisis. In the 70s, it was the oil crisis, and now we have oil crisis, a natural gas crisis, coal crisis. All prices, including commodities, are skyrocketing, and energy security is a priority for many governments. Just as Mr. Sechin, you say, it's a tectonic change. And in fact, Russia reconfirmed that she is the energy superpower. The IEA was established in the first oil shock of 1974. Dr. Henry Kissinger, who is the founding father of the IEA, said that consuming countries were totally unprepared to the oil embargo by the OPEC. But the exact opposite thing happened about a year ago when the IEA published the analysis called Net Zero by 2050. Oil-producing countries and their companies were panicked when they heard Fatih Birol said that energy groups must stop all new oil and gas exploration projects from this year. I call it the first IEA shock. Net Zero by 2050 tells us if the world governments should achieve carbon neutral by 2050, the peak demand of oil could have happened already in 2019. And for natural gas, it would happen by the middle of 2020s. The current global energy crisis will eventually balance back because fuel are fungible. And also higher prices of fuels will definitely induce new investments. But these climate shocks would be much more profound and disastrous than the global fuel shock if we are not well prepared. Nobody can stop this happening. There are winners and losers. Europe is accelerating the decarbonization for energy security. Hydrogen is the key tool. The United States is driven by the megatech companies who plan to decarbonize their whole supply chain even earlier by 2030. China aims to be a renewable energy superpower. Japan may restart nuclear power plants to reduce gas consumption. Saudi Arabia plans to generate green and blue hydrogen to avoid stranded acetization of their oil. I'm afraid to say, Igor, that Russia seems to me the least prepared for this climate shock. Western sanctions on technology, self-withdrawal of investments may hurt your ability to adapt. And the security and sustainability of one country, or any country, cannot be achieved by oneself. International collaboration is urgently needed in the energy sector. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you
very much, Dr. Tanaka. I do have some comments on the universal approach of the low-carbon economy and how universal it has to be, and the fourth energy transition that I believe is based not on the competition or effectiveness of energy carriers, but somewhat political and ideological pressure. But thank you very much for your speech. Thank you very much for your presentation. Arigato. And now, allow me to move over to India and an Indian company, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, VDASH, ONGC VDASH, represented by Mr. Gupta. Mr. Gupta, your company, together with Rosneft, has participated in a number of large production projects that includes Vankor field, one of probably largest oil fields that has lately been commissioned, certainly in the last quarter of a century. That is the oil field that is part of yet another promising and truly transformational project of Rosneft, namely Vostok Oil, that was covered by Mr. Sechin in his speech. OSGC is also a shareholder in Sakhalin-1 project, that is a high-tech project with colossal resource base. Would you please share with us how do you see the synergies of cooperation with Russia? And in this regard, how do you see the future of the energy sector and the role of India in the reset of global economy? The floor is yours.
I'm extremely delighted to be part of the St. Petersburg Forum this year. I think this answer to this question has to be looked in the context of how India is growing, and also in the context of what is the current balance of hydrocarbon supply and demand globally. So on the first point, the share of primary energy is bound to grow, and what is expected is that the share of India is going to be around 11% by 2040 in the global energy supply consumption. And it is my belief that besides a great space being occupied by the renewable energy, oil and gas are going to remain the mainstays, as they had been in the global energy context for last so many years. The world still relies about 80% on oil and gas in terms of primary energy supplies. The price downturn which happened in the hydrocarbon industry in 2014, the industry has witnessed a continuous decline in the investments in be it be exploration, be it be development or production. And the result has been that the global supply capacities in the hydrocarbon industry has been constantly depleted of what it used to be in 2014. Now, in such a scenario, we are now today very, very fine balance of supply and demand of hydrocarbons in oil and gas in the global economy. With such a fine balance, if there is any disruption in the supply of oil and gas from any part of the world, it directly impacts the economies, the balance that is established in terms of economic growth. And North America or down under in Australia, the inflation is really eating into the common man's pocket. And this is where I see that there has to be a balance between some conflicts and the cooperation among the countries, among the nations globally. And in this context, it is where I see that the cooperation between energy suppliers globally, be it from Latin America, be it from Middle East or from Russia, and the global consumers of energy has to be maintained going forward in the larger good of the common global common citizen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gupta. I wish you all the best in achievement of the very ambitious goal that you've just mentioned, $20 trillion of US dollar GDP that India is setting for itself. We have one more participant from Asia, that is Mr. Pedro Aquino, who is the head of a trading company, Oil and Petroleum Holdings International Resources. That is a company that also has an extensive track record of cooperating with Rosneft and indeed in the Asia-Pacific region. And as we all know, that this is the region that is truly strategically important for Rosneft. Due to the nature of your profession, traders are normally very sensitive towards the needs, the modes and demands of both suppliers and consumers of energy carriers. And under the current circumstances, when supply chains are being disrupted, it is extremely important to understand what would be the potential solution to the current situation. Mr. Aquino, in his speech, Mr. Sechin mentioned the importance and the promising prospects of creating new alliances. How do you see the role of the Asia-Pacific region in this new economic world order? And what is the role of cooperation with Russia in this context? How can it be developed further in the most promising manner, also taking into account the importance of sustainability and security and of supplies?
Good day to the panel of speakers headed by Chairman Igor Ivanovich Sechin and to all the participants in this session. The new economic order is characterized by high costs of oil and gas, high inflation, food shortage, and high cost of goods and services. Everybody believes that the new economic order was brought about by the Russian special military operation in Ukraine. In my honest opinion, this may be partly correct, but the main reason is the Western intervention. The issue of financial sanction imposed by Western countries should be carefully studied. This will depend mainly on the use of currency to purchase oil and gas from Russia. Russia should start considering accepting other currencies like RMB and rupee. In addition, it should start considering special discounts to those countries in the Asia-Pacific region to cushion the impact of rising oil and gas and enable them to rein on their inflation. Finally, Russia should start establishing strategic marketing and distribution offices in the Asia-Pacific region. Let me conclude by quoting the old saying, "No man is an island." Thank you and good day to all.
Большое спасибо, господин Акино.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aquino.
Очень много интересных мыслей было в вашем выступлении. И отдельные ваши позиции, они как раз совпадают с теми намерениями России, которая сегодня создает новую экономическую модель. Я благодарю всех за участие.
Today create the new economic model. Thank you, everyone.